Hello friends, welcome back or welcome to my channel if you've never been here before. My name is Bree and today I'm going to be giving you my top 10 authors and some of my favorite books from them. Let's get into it. Okay, I went back and forth like several times about how exactly I wanted to do this video because I was like, do I want to give my favorite authors and then just blab about them for hours on end, which I could do, or do I want to pick specific books from each one? And I kind of just decided to wing it. So some of them I'll be giving you my top favorites, but then I also realized that some of my favorite authors have only written one series or 3 books, and so I don't really want to limit myself to only talking about my top 3 favorites when it's okay, they've only written 1 series, let me just talk about that. So we're just gonna see where we go from here, guys. So coming in at number 10, we have Rachel Gillig, and she has only written 3 books that I've read personally, but all 3 of them have been 5 stars. The first was the Shepherd King duology, and that was One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. Both of these were 5 stars for me. I thought these books were so unique and just so different from other things I'd been reading at the time. I guess most people categorize this as gothic fantasy, romantasy, and I think that really fits. But for me, I just thought these books were so atmospheric and so full of imagery that fully sucked me in. I felt like I was living in these worlds and walking these streets and all these things, and the magic system was so unique compared to other fantasy books that I've read. And I just thought the way her writing was just did such a service to this world she had created and the magic she had created, and I ate it up. I absolutely loved it. These characters were to die for, and so I already loved those books. And then this year she released The Night and the Moth, which I think is my favorite book of the year so far. I absolutely ate it up. It was 5 stars, and I didn't think she could top the uniqueness and creativeness of One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns, but she totally did here. I thought the setup for this book was so much fun and so unique and just so alluring, and again, the writing is atmospheric and immersive and poetic and just sucks you into the story, but the characters she created in this book were amazing, if not more amazing than the characters of One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. These characters were developed, they had journeys that just totally blew apart any kind of misconceptions you might have had, and I thought that the way that they interacted with each other and with the plot just was done so well. I could honestly talk about it for hours. And the ending, I thought it was going to go one way with a character and it totally did a 360 I wasn't expecting, and I thought that that was so just such a homage to her writing and hey, I'm gonna do something that you're not even expecting, and I give her props for that because I feel usually, at least in fantasy books, I can most of the time see where twists are coming, and this one, no, I was so surprised with the way that it happened, and I ate it up. Also has one of the best side characters I've ever read in a fantasy book. Bartholomew must be protected at all costs. So highly recommend any works by Rachel Gillig. The next author for me at number 9 is Liz Tomforty, and listen, I know she wrote some things as an indie author, I think before the Windy City series really took off, but the Windy City series was the first series I read by her and her only now trad published series. I ate this series up. Every single book was 5 stars for me. The entire, it's a 6-star series for me. I love these characters so much, and sports romances just get me going. I love them. I'm a sports girly, so I love reading about it in my books, and the way Liz Tomforty wrote these characters and the found family is just so rich and heartwarming and just fulfilling. I feel like not even take away the romance part, the rest of the book and the series about these people and their development and their family and how they love each other, that was so rewarding to read, and I thought she did a great job of connecting it throughout all of the books, so each book doesn't feel disconnected. It feels like one whole book within 5 different chapters almost, and I loved that. My personal favorite is Rewind It Back because I love a second chance romance, and I loved Rio and Hallie. I related to both of them in different ways, but every single book was 5 stars. Mile High with Stevie and Xander's, this book gets a lot of hate, and it could never be me. I absolutely ate it up. I related to Stevie so much. I love Xander's character development. The reformed playboy trope almost hits for me every single time, and I thought it was done really well here. And they started it off. They set the mold. Then you get to The Right Move, and this is Indy and Ryan, a perfect Grumpy Sunshine romance, forced proximity, best friend's brother, like all these things. And I love the way that their I like to describe their love as like a quiet love because it's not this big, bold, crazy, rash thing. Like they develop slowly and quietly and just really maturely. And I was bawling my eyes out towards the end. This man learned sign language for her. Like I was obsessed. Then you get to Caught Up, Single Dad Nanny, Forced Proximity, Coach's Daughter, a little bit of Forbidden. I love the way that both Kai and Miller brought out sides in one another that they really needed to like fully be able to live their lives, and I thought that that was such a testament to these characters and the way they were written. Max is the cutest little kid, and I love that this also kind of expanded the world from the hockey basketball we'd been living in to include baseball while still like keeping that like almost like a small town in a big town feeling is really what this gave. And then you get to play along. I relate to Kennedy K in my soul. The eldest daughter mold was deep within her. And Isaiah Rhodes is down bad. And a reformed playboy and obsessed man is an ultimate top tier trope combo for me. I thought it was done so well here. I also really liked that like these characters were a lot deeper than what you were expecting. You didn't really expect their series to be as nuanced and complex and layered and tortured as what it was. And so, chef's kiss. Then obviously you get Rewinded Back, which I started with because it's my favorite. Every single book, like I said, was 5 stars. I think Liz Tomforty's writing just really spoke to me. It's easy to read while also packing that emotional punch, and I cannot wait to see where she goes from here. Next for me at number 8 is Elle Kennedy. I have read almost all of Elle Kennedy's books. I still have a few of her like backlist hockey romances that I need to read, but most of them have been devoured. The Off Campus series was my first sports romance series ever, and it like set the blueprint for me. Like everything gets compared back to that. I've loved all of her series. I keep rereading them. Like right now I'm doing a reread of The Briar U because I love it that much. I just think she writes the perfect, easy, bingeable sports romances. Like it's not a literary masterpiece, but I don't need it to be. I need it to be a good time while still having characters that I love, and she delivers that consistently for me. Like I really think I've only not liked like 2 of her books that I've read, and they still had elements that I liked. I just didn't vibe with them fully. But I mean, that out of like 50, I'll take it. I think this score is my favorite book by her, followed very, very closely by The Risk and The Graham Effect, and I just think they're a good time and super fun. Next for me at number 7 is Emily Henry, which feels like a really basic author to pick, but I don't care. I'll be basic. I'm fine with that. I accept it and I love it. Romance for me has become a genre I'm obsessed with in recent years, and I eat it up every single time, but I think Emily Henry's books are so good because they're like romance and women's fiction. Like it combines both of them. My favorite book by her all time is Book Lovers. I relate to Nora as the eldest daughter so much. Like she is my spirit animal. And like I want someone to love me the way that Charlie Lasher loves Nora. I thought the small town was there. The sibling relationship was written really well and I really related to it. I just thought it was phenomenal. I also really loved Funny Story, which I feel like is a little bit of an unpopular opinion. Like some people really hate this book and hate Miles and Daphne, and I don't. I love them both. I thought they were so fun. I thought this was a little different from her other books in the way that the romance started, and I really enjoyed that. And then Be Treated is a classic. It was her first book. It's also one of my favorites. Gus and January are just like the perfect romance book couple, in my opinion. Like it just screams romance book, and I love the way that their grumpy sunshine played together while also tackling really heavy topics like grief and sadness and healing, and I thought it was phenomenal. And I love anything that's a little like on the nose. So there are 2 romance authors, or one's a romance author and the other's a regular author, and just how it like talked about bookish related things. I feel like this is one of the books that's done that best, because sometimes books lean in too heavily with that and then it gets annoying, but this had just enough. I think Emily Henry just writes books that feel like a hug. Like you just want to pick them up and read them, and when you finish you just feel good. Even if it's not like the most amazing book you've ever read, it's still really good and solid, and it's gonna hit every single time, and that's why she's on my list. At number 6, we have Abby Jimenez. I don't think I could have a top authors list and not put Abby Jimenez on it. I've read every single book by her, and just like Emily Henry, I think she has perfected the like genre of romance and Every single one of her books is going to tackle a really heavy or difficult topic. She's done grief, infertility, loss of a parent, long distance, neglectful parents, cheating, death, all these different things, anxiety, mental health representation. She's just tackled them all, and she does a great job every single time. I think my favorite for her has got to be Yours Truly, mostly because I relate to Brianna as a character and we have the same name, so I'm obviously gonna love her. And Dr. Jacob Maddox is just everything you could ever want. But the only book by her I've rated less than 4 stars was The Friend Zone, and that was the first book I ever read by her, and it just wasn't my favorite. But I still enjoyed it, and I loved her writing, and I loved the characters she created in that have gone on to have impacts throughout all of the other books. Also, I truly believe you have to read it first, because the emotional impact of the Happy Ever After playlist will not be as good if you haven't read The Friend Zone. And yeah, that you just have to. I'm a big believer in reading things in order, and Abby Jimenez books are technically standalones, but the way she writes them, she creates a world, and little things are discussed in all of them about previous characters, and I really love that she's able to create such rich and deep characters that like you need them in other books to like fully read the story, but also she's good enough to write them in to where if you don't know them, it's not the worst thing, but you get so much more out of the book if you have read them in the order that she wants you to. That was just like a little diatribe about reading orders. But all that to say, Abby Jimenez's books hits every time for me. I think she's perfectly captured emotional writing while still delivering a solid story, and that's why she's on my list. At number 5, we have Elsie Silver. Again, I don't know how I could have a top 10 and not put her on there. I discovered her 2 years ago, and I've literally binged every single book since, and every single book hits for me. I think my personal top 3 by her would be Wild Side, which is in the Rose Hill series, which honestly the Rose Hill series hasn't been my favorite except this one. I gave this 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. I thought she really took a risk by writing a romance book about a pro wrestler, and for me it really paid off because I grew up with little boys, cousins, and my brother, and we always watch wrestling, and I always babysat, so that's just like my thing. I think it's really fun. I ate it up. But I just thought it made this book so unique to all these other romance books out there, and I really, really loved that. And I loved how you could see her passion for pro wrestling and having a good time with her sons in it, and I just thought it made the book so special, and I absolutely ate it up. Then we have Heartless. Like, I don't know if you could have a favorite Elsie Silver's list without putting Heartless on there. As we know, this book is the blueprint for Single Dad Nanny. It's amazing. I ate it up. Kate and Willa are everything. I absolutely love this book. But my favorite is Reckless. I don't think I've read a book that made me feel all the emotions that Reckless has since then. It remains one of my top books of all time. I relate to Winter so, I think after Nesta, like Winter is the character I relate to most out of any book character I've ever read. And I love the way Theo loves her and supports her. And I just think that they work together so well and you wouldn't expect it. And I love when a book is written that way. Also, it's accidental pregnancy, which as we know, I absolutely love. Everything about it works. And Elsie's writing just brings them to life in such a way that you can imagine them as real people and they feel fully fleshed out and fully developed. And you know, you see the nuances and complexities of all the characters from your previous books that you've loved, and now you see them from a different point of view. And I think that a good writer doesn't have one character that is the sole hero of the story, because when you're in different point of views, those characters are going to be different. And I think Elsie does a great job of writing her characters that way to where like you see the good and bad of everyone. And I think that is just a testament to character development and why I love these stories so much. Coming in at number 4, we have Kristen Hanna. She is my all-time historical fiction writer. I put off reading her books for a long time and my mom kept bugging me to pick them up, and I was like, no, I don't want to read historical fiction. It's not for me. I fully apologize. I take blame for my actions. I should have picked her up years ago. I have devoured her books. I'm still slowly making my way through her backlist. I think I have like 4 or 5 left. But every single book I've read by her has been 4 or 5 stars. I think my favorites from her would be Homefront. And honestly, prepare yourself if you pick this up. This book wrecked me the most out of any of her books. And they're all a little sad. Obviously, history can be sad. So prepare yourself for that. But this book I think is the saddest. I cried the entire book, I feel like. I don't think I stopped crying as soon as I picked it up. I don't even want to tell you about it because you need to like read the book back of it and decide if you want to read it, but also I kind of feel like going in blind is good too for this one. But yeah, just get your tissues ready. You will bawl your eyes out. My second favorite would be The Nightingale, which is World War II, but it's from two sisters' perspectives and how they survived. And I really, really thought this was done really well and showed impact of World War II, which we all understand, but just different perspectives as far as women in that time and what they're dealing with and what they're fighting. And then my favorite all-time Kristen Hanna book is The Great Alone. I bawled like a baby through this one too. I loved the Alaskan setting, and I just think that the way she wrote this was so good because there's so many layers. You have the family layer, and you have the community and her young romance life as a kid to where she is now, and all these different things like impacting each other. I ate it up. The ending is very satisfying. I think Kristen Hanna's writing is really good in that her characters are super flawed and you don't always want to root for them, but you understand the human nature of them, and so then you're like sucked into the story and you feel super relatable to these characters that are written in times of the history. Also, I feel like they're fairly educational. Obviously it's historical fiction, so there are liberties taken, but I feel like she stays pretty like true to the source material in my opinion, and so I really enjoyed that as well. She's just phenomenal, to be honest. Coming in at number 3, we have Devney Perry. I have literally read every single book on Devney Perry's backlist. There's just something about her that works for me. Like, I don't know what it is, but she delivers every time for me. Her books are typically the perfect bingeable small town romances. Plus, she is now diving into romantasy, and I was very, very nervous for her dive into romantasy because sometimes romance authors think they can write like fantasy romantasy books, but then they have no world building, no development, no plot really besides the romance, and I get really annoyed because you could have just written a romance. No, Devney Perry delivered. Shield of Sparrows is one of my top reads of this year, as well as one of my top favorite Devney Perry reads of all time. She had the most unique idea for the story, and her world building was done perfectly. A lot of people have said the middle is slow, but I ate it up because it's literally all world building. Like, she is building and showing us this place she has created and these monsters and this unique magic system and all these things, and I ate it up. I thought it was phenomenal. And like I said, she writes amazing small town, especially set in Montana. I love it. And all of her series have been 4 or 5 stars for me. My next 2 favorites after Shield of Sparrows would probably be Rally, which is in the Treasure State Wildcats, which is a sports romance small town. I ate it up. I loved it. Accidental Pregnancy. No one writes accidental pregnancy like Devney Perry. She is the queen of accidental pregnancy. And after that one, my next favorite would probably either be the Eden series, specifically Juniper Hill, or the Clifton Forge series, specifically Steel King. One is a small town romance, single mom, and then Steel King is small town romance, motorcycle club, enemies to lovers. Both of those are phenomenal, 5 stars. But you can't go wrong reading any of her stories. She just writes really rich characters, a fantastic setting that just makes you want to go live in Montana. And usually her stories like develop over time, so the whole series, they're individual couples, but there's like overarching plots and themes, and I really love how she's able to create these worlds where you feel fully invested in these fictional people. Coming in at number 2, we have Catherine Cowles. Like I've said in so many videos to so many people, I don't know what it is, but there's just something about Catherine Cowles' writing that hits for me every single time. I literally think I've only rated one of her books 3 stars, and most of her books have been 5 stars, to be honest. I think there's like 4 or 5 that are 4 stars, one that's 3 star, and then literally every other book she's written, and she's written quite a few, have been 5 stars. She just hits for me every single time. I don't know what it is. Romantic suspense was a newer genre for me, and then I discovered her and I decided, no, this is the genre for me. Like, I eat it up. I love the tension. I love the whodunit. I love the trying to figure out things while still having that small town romance feel. I think if I had to pick 3 favorites, it's very, very hard. But I would go with Shadows of You, which is the 4th book in the Lost and Found series. This is single mom, tortured past MMC, forced proximity, grumpy sunshine. I ate it up. I love a down bad MMC who doesn't think he deserves love and a woman who shows him that he does. The single mom aspect was really unique and different from what I was expecting, and the twist totally got me. Did not see it coming at all. Then my next one by her would be Beautiful Exile. I thought this book was super fun because there were like 2 twists And the first one was super predictable, and I was like, oh, I figured it out. And then she hit you with the second one. And because she kind of fooled you with that first one, like the second one was a bigger mind blow moment. Like I did not see it at all. This is the fourth book. I think it's the fourth book in the, yeah, it's the fourth book. The fourth book in the Sparrow Falls series, and it's Lincoln and Arden, and I just ate it up. It just, I can't even put into words how good it is. And my third favorite would probably be Tattered Stars, which is the first book in the Tattered and Torn series. And this book was actually my first book I ever read by her. No, just kidding. This was my second book I ever read by her, and I ate it up. This is kind of like forbidden past enemies because of things that happened by both of their parents and their families, and now they're coming together, and he's the sheriff of the town, and he doesn't want her to live there anymore because he hates her for what her family did. And I just think the tension and the trauma and healing that is all within throughout this series is done phenomenal, as well as like the small town feel. Like I just want to go visit these towns and live there and stay there forever. I ate them up. And my top author of all time, I don't think it should be any surprise, is Sarah J Maas. Like, obviously, she's going to be my number one. Throne of Glass, ACOTAR, Crescent City, all of her series hit for me. Like, there has not been a miss. Every single book is amazing. I reread them all the time. Obviously, I think my all-time favorite is A Court of Silver Flames. It's right here. I have like 5 copies. This is an annotated copy. I reread it at least once a year, if not more. Like, it just hits for me. I've never related to a book character more in my life than I relate to Nesta Archeron. I love Cassian with my entire soul. However, I love all of her. Like, I don't think she's created a character that I don't like. Throne of Glass is amazing. I just finished my like 8th reread of the series. I think that the way she's able to weave and develop plot points across 8 books and like slowly build a story that where you're not even aware of like what's being built until you get to the final book and you're like, oh my gosh, this is impacted from events all the way in the prequel, is a testament to her absolute amazing skills. It's just a masterclass in like how to write and develop a story. She's phenomenal. Her characters are so good. I think one of my favorite things about her characters is that she writes flawed and complex and nuanced characters where, just like with Elsie Silverhow, I was talking about how like in different points of views you see different sides of characters, and SJM does that really well, where like people were hating on Reese after A Court of Silver Flame, saying that she changed his character completely. And I was like, no, she just showed a different side of him from a different point of view. And I think that's so relatable and such a great way to like really dig into the meat of characters, because you're going to see them different ways depending on how you're reading them. 10 out of 10, so good. Crescent City, I feel like is super underrated. I thought it was so unique the way she wrote that plot and how she brought in the urban technology fantasy. And I love Bryce and Hunt. I think they're amazing characters. People say they're boring or selfish or blah, blah, blah. I block them out. I ignore them because they're dumb. I love Crescent City so much. I relate to Bryce Quinlan again. I think the 3 characters I relate to most in my life are Nesta, Bryce, and Aelin. And SJM just writes fierce, complex, nuanced, layered female main characters so well. And I think that really, I'm an Enneagram 8, so I really relate to that like strong yet layered like personality type. And I think that all of SJM's like lead FMCs are Enneagram 8s, and I think she does a great job developing them, and I just eat it up. I love her books. I would read her grocery list. And those are my top 10 authors and a few of my favorite books by them. Let me know if you've read any of these authors, who your favorite author is. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you soon.